every Roman scholar, every Greek scholar, every Jewish writer, every Christian writer would agree with that fact, that Jesus of Nazareth died on a Roman cross by crucifixion.
Well, John said, I saw it.
Yeah.
So John, this wasn't
And he was
hearsay.
right there.
He was right there. He was at the foot of the cross when Jesus said, John, will you take care of my mother for the rest of her life? So he stayed there until Jesus shouted out, it is finished, bowed his head, refused to take the next breath. John said, I saw him die. And then 3 days later, he was in that upstairs room, windows barred, door locked, and he heard a banging on the door. He thought the Romans had come to get him, because once somebody considered an insurrectionist is crucified, then they come to get his followers. But instead he heard a woman's voice, opened the door. It was Mary Magdalene saying, I've been to the tomb, it's empty, somebody's robbed the grave. And so John looked at Peter, they looked at each other, they ran through that open door, through the early morning streets of Jerusalem. They came to the place where Jesus had been buried, and the stone was rolled away, just like Mary said. And Peter charged in the tomb. He couldn't make sense out of it, and he left. But John went in and he looked around, and what he saw, John, the grave clothes, the wrappings, the shroud that they wrapped the body in, was lying there like an empty cocoon. It wasn't lying there like somebody had unwrapped the body and taken the body off naked. It was lying there as though the body had evaporated up through it. And John said he knew instantly Jesus had risen from the dead.
That's right.
But he was still confused. He couldn't make sense of it.
Right.
Went back to that upstairs room that afternoon. He heard the voice, peace, it is I, be not afraid. He turned, and with those same eyes that had seen Jesus for 3 years in all those different circumstances, the same eyes, he saw Jesus of Nazareth standing before him, the wound on his brow where the thorns had been, the wounds in his hands and feet where the nails had been, and Jesus invited him to touch him and confirmed that he had risen bodily from the dead.
Yes.
And John saw that. He heard it. Jesus, stayed for 40 days
right.
teaching and explaining all this, and then 40 days later, they're standing on the Mount of Olives, and Jesus lifted up from the ground, he ascended back into heaven, and John said, I saw, with the same eyes, I saw Jesus of Nazareth, who had been crucified, who died, who was buried for 3 days. I saw him raised from the dead. I saw him ascend through the clouds of glory back into heaven.